I never thought, I never envisioned ever in my mind of being here. It was totally unexpected the way that it happened. Uh, no, don't get me wrong. Life gives you unexpected things. That's part of life, but not this amount, not this much, not in this way. I should back up and start at the beginning. First, Joseph, my name. Uh, Shalom. Good to meet you. And I hope that my story helps you. I was named after Joseph, our patriarch. I always liked the name. I always felt like being named after, because Joseph was an honorable man, even though he was put into a dishonorable situation by dishonorable people. He stayed an honorable person. That's what I wanted. I took the name and I took that calling seriously. So I always sought to be an honorable person. I did see myself getting married. I was arranged to be married to Mary, but then everything else was so unexpected and surprising. After I made the arrangements with Mary's family because Mary's family was an honorable family, not wealthy. Wealth was not what I sought. A lot of honorable people aren't wealthy, and a lot of wealthy people aren't that honorable, at least where I'm from. So I sought honor my whole life. That was my goal. And in choosing Mary, choosing this honorable young woman, a good young woman from her family, I felt like I was making good strides in setting myself up for that life. I made arrangements with her family. Shortly after we made those arrangements, and I said, I'm going to prepare for us a place where we can live married. She went to see her cousin. And when she got back to the village, when she got back to Nazareth, I knew something was wrong. Something was not right. The whole village was buzzing. The whole village was buzzing around everybody but me. Something was up. So when her family sent me a message to come to her, come to them, meet with them, I thought we were going to discuss something about the arrangement. Something has happened, something has changed. Oh, little did I know. Everything had changed. Mary was with child. Mary was pregnant, and I knew it wasn't mine. What do you do? What could I do? I couldn't marry her. Not and retain any sense of honor that I had so sought. And yet, I didn't want to cause the family any more pain. Mary came with this totally unexpected story of that which was within her was from God, and she had known no man. I couldn't believe her. It was too far-fetched. But I resolved to not make a fuss. I didn't want to hurt that family. They were still, I thought, decent people. And for me to be honorable, that was the honorable thing. To treat them with honor, even in this situation that was not honorable. So I did. I said I will divorce quietly. She'll have enough to deal with living here in Nazareth with all these tongues wagging. And they were. Sleep that night did not come easy. When I finally got to sleep, it seemed like I was immediately in a dream. And in my dream, my name was called Joseph, and there was a messenger. A messenger through the dream that said, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for that which is conceived in her is by the Holy Spirit of God. And it's going to be a boy. You're going to name him Jesus, Yeshua in Hebrew, and he will save the people from their sins. Well, I woke up in a cold sweat. What do you do? Now I have a decision. Do I continue to seek what I had sought my whole life? Or do I go with this? Because to make no mistake, to answer this message and to become a part of this mission was to give up what I had sought. To marry Mary? She was a pariah now. She was viewed as an immoral person. To marry her, I would be giving away my honor. Just the thing that I had sought my whole life for, just give it up. But I could not disobey. I had to obey. It was God asking me for my life. What do you do? So I gave up the choice of having a life that was honorable in order to obey the call. It was almost worth giving that up, though, when I saw Mary, when I told her what my messenger had said, to see the relief on her face, to see tears of relief and joy, now that someone believes her and she's no longer alone in doing this mission from God. We were to settle down in Nazareth, start this family. I was to accept this child as my own. Nazareth need not be any the wiser about the call of God upon both of our lives now. And then something else unexpected happened. Oh, a census. We get to go to Bethlehem. We get to travel to the town of my ancestors to register for the census. Who ever heard of that? Register for a census can only mean one more thing, one more tax. We can't afford to pay what taxes we have. Jobs are a little bit less frequent now that I'm viewed as being a little less honorable. Oh well, to Bethlehem we go. We take what little money we have and we're off, and Mary's pregnant and getting more pregnant every day. And so off to Bethlehem we go. Long trip. A long trip and much time to talk and much time to think about what God has called us to do. You know, when God tells you something, you often misguess yourself. You often second guess what you think you heard in the message. And the more time you have to think about it, the more you want him to say again what he said before. And I know I had Mary repeat what her messenger told her 10 or 12 times to me, and I know she did the same for what my messenger said to me. It was like we were together remembering the message from God so that we could continue to follow it. We get to Bethlehem. Bethlehem is crazy. I've never seen so many people in such a small village. Every home was full. We finally found a place where they let us sleep in the entryway where they kept the animals and the food for the animals. And I thought, this will never work. It worked. It worked. Mary gave birth in a strange place among strangers. And I held this child for the first time in my hands. Any birth is a marvel, a miracle from God, but this birth, this child, and we were both marveling at what this might mean to the world when people start coming in the door of this entryway where we're staying, and it's shepherds. Shepherds are kind of smelly, not the most noble people, but they're rolling into this entryway and it's filling up with shepherds, and there's a few sheep outside, and they're telling us about a message they got from angels who tell them that a Savior has been born in Bethlehem, and they'll know which one he is because he'll be a baby lying in a manger. There can't be that many babies lying in a manger in Bethlehem. Well, maybe there's a few, maybe there's more than one. It's so crowded. And they come in. And what the angel has told them, and the way that they look at the child and kneel before it, what do? There's nothing else you can do but kneel along with them and marvel. Because if what the shepherd said is true, if what Mary's messenger told her is true, if what the messenger that talked to me told me was true, this child is more than what it seems. We set up shop in Bethlehem. We didn't really have the money to go back to Nazareth. I questioned whether we wanted to go back to Nazareth with all of the tongues wagging. I knew that Mary would not be accepted there. I knew I might struggle to get work there. So we stayed in Bethlehem. I had some distant family there, helped me get some work, not a lot. Now there's more mouths to feed in the family. So we did. We stayed there. And it was sometime later we get another visit. More strangers at the door. This time they're not shepherds. Oh, and this time they don't come empty-handed. They're dressed like royalty, but not like kings and queens from where we were. It's like they came from the way to the east. And they bring gifts. Gold. I've never seen gold before. I've never seen that much gold before. The most I've ever seen is a silver denarius. Gold, and then frankincense, the aroma of kings and queens, and then myrrh, a burial spice, an odd mixture of gifts. And they present all of these gifts not to Mary, not to me, but to the child. And they kneel before this child too. They said, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews? We've seen his star in the east, and we've come to worship him." You don't worship children, do you? Unless they're more than just a child. Sleep didn't come easy that night either. And when I finally dozed off, again, I heard my name, Joseph, get up, take the child and its mother, and go to Egypt. I've never been to Egypt. How do we find a way to Egypt? I couldn't worry. I could not have anxiety. I had to trust. I had to trust and take the next step. I had to do what I was asked to do. So we headed to Egypt. Herod wanted to kill the boy, was what we were told. So off to Egypt we go. We get to Egypt. We stay there for a time. Another message from the messenger that says it's safe to come back now. The one who sought to take the child's life is dead. So we come back. I thought we'd come back to Bethlehem. Then we found out in Bethlehem that there's another Herod there. And I didn't trust him. And it seemed right to all of us. We go somewhere else other than Bethlehem. Where else do we go? Back to Nazareth. Back to the wagging tongues. If God can get us through the desert to Egypt, he can get us through this village full of people that look at us with a little bit askance at us. Oh well. God can protect us. God can take care of us. We felt alone. On that trip to Egypt, it was really easy to feel alone, but we had to believe that we weren't. Even coming back to Nazareth, we felt alone, like our family was viewed from a distance. But we had to believe we weren't alone, that he knew where we were, and he would take care of what we needed. Every step we took it in trust. Trust of the message, the messenger, and the one who gave the message to us. Is that where you are right now? life turn a little bit unexpected for you? Maybe it has. Maybe that's what life is supposed to do. And maybe that's because then we have to lean not on what we expect, but on the one who can get us through the unexpected things. Our Father. He can. Jehovah Jireh. He can provide. He provides what we need when we take this step, when we take it in trust. That'd be the message I'd tell you. That'd be the message I think Joseph would want you to know. This Joseph anyway, and thanks. Thanks for listening.